Hello, Japan. Konnichiwa. My name is Enzo van Zanten, and I'm the Choco evangelist of a small Dutch chocolate company called Tony's Chocolate Only that is trying to make a difference in the world, trying to change the chocolate industry from within. Because unfortunately, there's still today in 2021 a widespread problem of illegal child labor and even modern slavery in the world of cocoa. So I'd love to take my time and tell you a little bit about this, about the cocoa industry, about chocolate, and about what we as a small change maker are trying to do within that industry to change it from within. So here we go. My name is Enzo. As I already said, I'm the evangelist or the spokesperson of a small Dutch chocolate company called Tony's Chocolate Only. And I'd like to take my time to talk you through the world of cocoa. So how does the world of cocoa look? Cocoa grows around the equator. There's a little bit of cocoa that comes from Asia. There's a little bit of cocoa that comes from Central and South America, where originally all cocoa used to come from. But nowadays, cocoa is grown on millions of tiny farms in Western Africa. These are millions of small family-run businesses, of which the most are in Ghana and Ivory Coast. And I'll get to that later on. The other side of the value chain are billions of consumers like you and me who just want to be able to eat a bar of chocolate every day of their life without having to feel any sense of guilt. But in the middle of that value chain, there's only a handful of companies, say 10 or 12, that produce 90 or 95% of all chocolate in the whole wide world. And it's in their interest that the price of cocoa remains low. In our opinion, that price is inhumanly low. So how does that look? Of a bar of chocolate that's sold in the Netherlands for €2.79 in the stores, not much more than 5 or 6% of that retail price actually goes to the farmer that grows that cocoa. So to put that in perspective, the average cocoa farmer in Ivory Coast earns about 72 euro cents or 79 cents of available income per person per day, which is way below the living income level that's stated at around €2.20 or €2.50, depending on the country, for a country like Ghana or Ivory Coast, and even way below the extreme poverty level that's around $1.79 per person per day. And we think that value chain is very unequally divided. Now, let me put that in a broader perspective. Two countries in Western Africa, Ghana and Ivory Coast, they produce about 60% of all cocoa in the whole wide world. And that has grown on about 2.5 million farms. And on those 2.5 million farms, according to the latest figures in the NORC report, there's more than 1.5 million children that work there, of which 95% work under illegal circumstances. So that means that these children work with heavy machinery or walk around with sharp machetes or work with chemicals. But 95% of these children work under really hazardous situations. And at least 30,000 children, according to the latest figures of the Global Slavery Index, are really subject to something that can be considered modern slavery. So these are kids that are forced to do unpaid work, often outside of the family environment. And that's ridiculous in 2021 for a product that everybody should be able to enjoy, right? Whether you're eating chocolate, whether you're giving away chocolate, or whether you're receiving chocolate, and even when you're making chocolate. But the people in the beginning of the value chain don't feel the same sense of happiness as the people at the end of the value chain. And in the beginning of, let's say about 20 years ago, the majority of all those big chocolate companies signed a protocol to eradicate the worst forms of child labor from their value chain. And this is called the Harkin and Engel Protocol. And all of those big chocolate producers signed that protocol. But unfortunately, until today, hardly any of them really take their responsibility seriously. And around 2003, 2004, there was a Dutch television show called Keuringsdienst van Waarde, which is an investigative Dutch journalistic program looking at the marketing in the food industry. And they realized that those big chocolate producers weren't taking their responsibility seriously. So they started investigating the problem of illegal child labor, and they realized it was really a widespread problem. But the chocolate producers weren't really listening to them, so they even had a court case set up against themselves as chocolate consumers And when they realized that they really needed to change the industry from within, they started their own little chocolate company called Tony's Choco Lonely. Tony's, the international name for Teun, the journalist of the program, and Choco Lonely for his lonely battle in the chocolate industry. And in 2005, that company was born, a small chocolate company, but with a huge mission to make not only our own chocolate 100% slavery-free, but to make all chocolate worldwide 100% slavery-free. Now, how do we think we can do this? 3 steps, of which the first step is really to create awareness amongst chocolate consumers about the bitter reality that still exists in the chocolate industry today, because we're convinced that when chocolate consumers and retailers simply hand in hand ask more questions about what they put in their shopping baskets or what they put up on their shelves, that the producers of those goods will have to start feeling the pressure. Now, what are the consumers that we actively look for? Those are the ones that we call our serious friends. So those are the people that not just buy our chocolate because they like the chocolate itself, not just buy our chocolate because they want to support that mission, but those consumers that actively spread that mission amongst family and friends. The second step in our strategy is that we want to show the industry that chocolate can be made in a different way, in a more sustainable way, in a more social way, in our opinion, simply in a better way. How? By following our 5 sourcing principles, of which the most important one is to really take responsibility for your complete value chain. So that's really full traceability of those cocoa beans, or as we say, bean to bar traceability. And why is that so important? Because then we can pay a higher price for those cocoa beans directly to those cocoa farmers, so they can really earn a living income, which simply means that they can afford to have a roof over their head, feed their kids, and hopefully send their kids to school as well, which is essential in our strategy. We also help them increase the productivity of the cocoa bean, of the farms that they work on, and the quality of the cocoa beans that they deliver to us. And we help them form strong cooperatives so they have a stronger stand in the value chain that they're working in. And those 5 sourcing principles we share open source on the inside of our wrappers, on our social media, on our website, everywhere. Why? Because we strongly believe in inspiring the rest of the industry to start doing what we're doing as well. And that's the last step in our strategy, really to inspire other companies to also act themselves. We launched the Tony's Open Chain platform, where we actively invite all other chocolate manufacturers and retailers and chocolate brands to start working through the same 5 sourcing principles. And we're really proud to say that the first partner that we joined up with was and is Barie Callebaut, the biggest chocolate producer in the world. And if they can make their chocolate in that way and spread this amongst all the brands that they produce chocolate for, then we really see a bright future there. We also joined forces with the biggest retailer in the Netherlands and are now also joining forces with a couple of retailers in Germany. And we always say we're crazy about chocolate, but we're serious about people. Now, some might call us a social enterprise. And why? Because we believe financial success is not a goal in itself. Financial success is an essential means. Don't get me wrong, we're really commercial, but it's an essential means towards a goal. That goal is crystal clear for us. That's 100% slave-free chocolate worldwide. So crazy about chocolate because we launch the craziest recipes all the time, but we're really serious about people. And we put our own team on number 1 because we're convinced that we can only reach that humongous goal of 100% slave-free chocolate by having the most inspired, energized, empowered, and engaged team that we can imagine. And obviously on number 2, those cocoa farmers that we work with directly in Ghana and Ivory Coast. Number 3, the consumers that eat our bars, and number 4, the retailers that sell our bars. And on number 5 in our list of serious about people, we put our suppliers. So for example, Callebaut, but also the people that make our wrappers, etc. Now, the cocoa industry isn't equally divided. The chocolate industry isn't, so we made our bars also unequally divided to really show the way that the chocolate industry works in our opinion. And as long as the chocolate industry and the cocoa industry is so unequally divided, we will make our bars unequally divided as well. But what not too many people know is that in our unequally divided bars, we actually show the origin of our cocoa beans. We have the map of Western Africa hidden in our chocolate bar, showing the origin of the of the cocoa beans and the pride that we have in working with these strong farmers in Western Africa. Now, I'm going to leave you with the fact that for us, this is really not about us making our chocolate 100% slave-free. This is really about all of us working together, consumers, producers, retailers, but also governments, to make sure that all chocolate worldwide becomes 100% slave-free. And I'm going to leave you with the wise words of a French philosopher, Jean-Paul Sartre, who once said, once you know something and you're aware, you're responsible. And when you're responsible, it's upon you to act upon that responsibility. I really call upon all of the change makers out there to take your responsibility as consumer, as entrepreneur, as producer, seriously, to make sure that we can all enjoy a lovely world that is equally divided and livable for everyone. Thank you very much.